Welcome Backstage with Christian Culture, the segment where we take you behind the scenes at gospel events across the island. But this isn't about stage, lights, or set lists. This is about real kingdom conversations. We're taking you up close and personal with your favorite gospel artists, not just as performers, but as believers, ministers, and creatives walking out their purpose. It's raw, it's real, and it's all about what God is doing in the culture, right here, Backstage. Let's go chat with the artists.
Backstage with Christian Culture.
Welcome back. We're here at Nurifest 2025 with
GOZZY. You don't know.
Well, we don't normally get to do a lot of interviews with persons like GOZZY. He's a very busy individual. But firstly, what type of music do you do, GOZZY?
I would say I do reggae fusion. So I love reggae. Reggae is my main thing. But all sorts of fusion, whether it's hip hop, whether it's ballad, whatever it is, all types of reggae as well. That's my heartbeat, reggae.
Okay, would you only consider yourself to be a gospel artist, or are there more dimensions to GOZZY?
Well, it all depends on what you call the gospel. I think I'm a Christian artist. Christian meaning that as a Christian reflecting Christ, all my music reflects Him. But it's not necessarily that every song is going to speak the gospel of coming to salvation. So like I have a song with my wife and we talk about love based on the principal kingdom meaning of love and marriage and all that sort of stuff. People may not constitute that as gospel, but for me I see it as Christian because of the stance or the biblical worldview I have in the song.
Right. You were going so well. I really asked the wrong question, but you answered another question as it relates to gospel and gospel music and whatnot. But it really meant, are you only considered a gospel singer? Or if there are other dimensions to gospel or further in the gospel that you're involved in. Because you also have a movement called Echo Nation, right? So I know that is not only GOZZY singing, but there is some more. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as you said, a lot of what I do is really about how can I be used to transform, bring positive social transformation. So whether it's through my music or through what we're doing in Echo Nation, which is looking at how music, social media, and the internet impact the mental health and behavior of young people. So we go into schools, we go into communities talking about that, and we encourage them to value their mind, to value their future, and to honor God with their digital engagement. And we use that as well as a way to help them connect with purpose through Christ and help them understand that they're fearfully and wonderfully made and He has a plan and a purpose for their lives.
Everybody, the kingdom of God uses technology as well. But on a more serious note, how do you see yourself impacting the Christian culture, right? How we behave, how we function in the near future or even in the distant future in Barbados? We're not going international. How are you planning at home to impact the Christian culture?
I actually like how you say, oh, you're planning at home, because my home is one of the places that I think will start coming out. So the album that I'm doing right now, it is more to reach the next generation. And part of what I'm doing is involving my children in that and getting them to hear their song, to know their song, and to create a song that reaches to them, and then to use them to also reach their friends and so on. So that's one thing I'm seeing doing. And also opening our homes for young people to come and to connect and to see that Christ is not confined to a building in a religious sort of way, but He is, as we see in the Bible, real relationships, family. That's who Christ is, and we could connect with young people from that standpoint.
When you have laid it all out there and you're leaving the stage, what would you consider to be a successful worship or praise session?
I would say that's a tricky question, because if we look at success from a response, it could be so misleading. And success is really be, have I gone up there and done what God basically instructed me to do or empowered me to do? And I think, especially as an artist, like one of the things I recognize, I may not get all the big crowd interaction, but what people will do is say like, hey, I listened to what you said and your words resonated with me, or it moved my heart, or it moved me in terms, or touched me in a particular way. So sometimes we can't be able to always gauge it based on feedback from the crowd or something like that. But it's best about knowing that, hey, Lord, did I fulfill the commission that you had in terms of whatever gig or whatever event it was. And if that's the case, I don't worry about the outcomes in terms of what I know. I know that he would take care of it.
Okay. So final question. From the point of view of evangelism, evangelism, most gospel artists we frequent, because I'm an artist as well, we frequent the churches, the Christian environment that is already prepared for worship, for praise. There are already believers with a common train of thought.
Right.
This is the question. Do you believe, one, even if not you, because people are at different stages and people are required to do different things, all right? Do you believe personally it would be a good idea for Christian gospel artists to find themselves in these quote-unquote secular environments, all right? Because there are many persons that would disagree that Christians should be in areas outside of the proverbial church environment. Do you believe that we should get into secular engagements to bring the message? Do you think that we have that power? Do you think that we can be captivated enough to effect change in these environments that are non-Christian?
I would say it may not be for everyone, because just as you said, there are some called to be evangelists, there are some called to be prophets or whatever. There are some gospel artists that they are called to edify the church, and that's where their meaning comes from. And I'm cool with that. But then there are some who may have an evangelistic calling where, hey, I'm not just called to edify the church, I'm also called to reach the lost. And it's not just, hey, I singing a gospel song to reach the lost, and that's it. The intention is there in terms of the relationships you build and the type of music you sing. You recognize that as an evangelist, when you go into some place, you know who you're targeting, and you go to reach them and connect with them where they are. So there are some people who are called to that, and then there are some people who are called to edify the church. And I think just like how there are all fivefold ministries in the church, there are fivefold ministries, if you want to call it that, in gospel music. Some people are saints. Some people are called to build, to teach through music and all that type of stuff. So it's up to that person to know, all right, what is it that God is calling me to, and where I could bear most fruit that is pleasing to Him, right?
Okay, you've heard it, folks, and me and Gozzy, we could do this all day. But he's definitely going to get formal interviews from Christian Culture. You could follow us on IG, all the social media handles. You could pretty much see Christian Culture 246. We are up and we are moving. So this is Christian Culture at Nuri Fest 2025.
The way, the truth, the life. Go follow Christian Culture.
And that's a wrap on this edition of Backstage with Christian Culture, where we go beyond the performance and into purpose. See you next time, Backstage.